In 1921, the legislature, through some efforts from the local politicians, local growers, were able to establish the need for establishing the center here to work on problems of the local settlers, the pioneers of this area. But it wasn't until 1923 they actually got started doing some research out here. And in that year, every single one of the crops that they planted failed. Cattle were not able to successfully breed. Dairy production was having all kinds of problems, so it wasn't just one single problem. And it took a little while to get it all figured out. The main problems were lack of some very important, very minor nutrients in the soil. The other big problem we had, of course, is we had a lot of hurricanes in the southern part of Florida in the early 20s. We had no water control in South Florida at that time for flood control. And so this station was wiped out in the 1928 hurricane in September. And as a result of that, the efforts pretty much from then up until now have been focused on looking at flood control, drainage of the soils to farm when needed, but also maintaining the water in the soils to be able to maintain the organic matter in the soils. Challenges came as the types of crops and opportunities for dairy and beef cattle increased. It became very clear in the 70s and the 80s that we needed to do more to control phosphorus, for example, getting into the water. And so this was a major factor for the research that was done here, and the results of that led to best management practices, which began in the mid-1990s and have continued through today. Looking for resistance to insects and diseases in plants has allowed us to reduce our input use of insecticides, fungicides. The industries that are in this area are highly productive, and the discoveries of varietal resistance, the advances in fungicide research and the labeling of fungicides, these have all been critical to the maintenance of the sugarcane industry throughout the country. The sweet corn that we know today and the sweet taste of that, the advances of that were done here at the research station in Belgrade, and we are now working again in that direction. We've just released 2 varieties of sweet corn that will take us into this century much better with disease resistance. So very proud to continue to work here among a really great group of faculty and staff. The people who work here work really well together. They interact really well with the clientele. It's congenial, it's collaborative, it's very scientifically productive.